Council on June the 26th, 2023, and it is 7 o'clock p.m. If we could rise, I'd like to ask Larry to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A roll call of the council members, please.
Quisenberry.
Here.
Nivell.
Here.
Hayden.
Here.
Green.
Here.
George.
Here.
Randazzo.
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
100% attendance. This is going to be
That's right. We're on a roll.
starting out anyway. The next is the approval of the agenda. Before we do a motion, Ryan just came around and he passed something around to everybody here, and it's a resolution on the budget. And apparently when we passed the budget at the last meeting, which it passed unanimously, it also requires a resolution that we are now getting now. It was an oversight on Beth's part to prepare the resolution. So nothing in the budget itself has changed, other than we now have a resolution instead of just a unanimous vote on the budget. So we could kick the can down the road and approve this next month because we're just getting it now. But I asked Ryan, because there's absolutely nothing in the budget that's different than what this resolution says, there's probably no reason we just can't pass this resolution as it's in front of us. What I'm going to do is make that item H under new business. That way when item H comes up, I will bring up this document again, and if anybody's in agreement, we have a motion and a resolution. Also, as it relates to the agenda, you guys will probably, it's a thick packet of stuff, and it's a lot of junk to go over. I went to meet with Ryan on Tuesday of this week to go over this week's agenda, and we started off with an agenda that looked something like this, and then, of course, when the final one came out, it grew. But over the past couple of months, I've been trying to reformat our agenda because it's just not the way I like to see it, because some of the things we accept aren't in the spots where they're supposed to be. Some of the things that we are, I guess, approving aren't even ours to approve, so they're just kind of house cleaning items that I want to take care of. And I want an agenda that's going to look, it's going to have on a useful document to go off of, and certain things are going to be in certain columns. We're also going to have something that is just going to be called, I don't know the name of it yet, but it's distributions or things that we should be aware of, but it's not things that have to be on agenda and voted on or talked on. They're just informational things, like possibly a letter from a citizen or a document from SEMCOG where we're doing no action whatsoever. It's just going to be an informational item. So that's going to take some of these things off, and we're going to regroup them. The consent agenda itself, I find just the word consent agenda doesn't really sound good to me, because it's lumping a whole bunch of things together that don't necessarily always belong together. As you can see, what was originally on the budget was 9 items that were all going to be consent items, and the consent agenda, the consent agenda typically just applies to 2 or 3 particular items, and I'd like those to be separated out, and then the other items are going to fall into some of those other categories that I just mentioned. Maybe they're acceptance items, maybe they're something else, but to call something a consent agenda, I think, is just a little bit disingenuous. We never used to have that. If things got too rough and people had to put them in a category to get through a meeting, I guess that's maybe why they had done it in the first place. But I think if we improve some other areas of the agenda, we can then get away from that area and just strictly look at those couple items individually and approve them individually, which I don't think will take us any more time than what we spend on them now. That's what I have to say about the agenda. So look for it, a little different appearance the next time it comes around, and maybe formatted not quite this way, but everything that needs to be in it will be in it. I added that item, and before we go further, I'm going to just throw this out to the council, that the approval of the agenda as we have it. Does anybody want to make any changes or deletions?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the addition of item H under new business, the budget resolution.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. A comment
one question
by...
on that?
Yes, sir.
Regarding the item H under new business, would that be more appropriate, since budget is an ongoing discussion already, to make it item A under unfinished business and just knock it off out of the way right away?
That's kind of you're hitting the nail on the head for what I was kind of addressing a minute ago. Things just show up somewhere, and they don't always have a rhyme or a reason. We just somehow get to them. In the sense of getting this, there's a motion, we can just add H, call it up. You're probably right. In technical terms, we do the budget anyway. That would have been a better time, but...
Well, I'm just saying is that because budget is an item that was ongoing, it's basically unfinished business.
We're passing a resolution, it's a new business. I think it's 6 one, half dozen the other.
Okay.
I think we leave it.
Okay?
I think we leave it because
Okay.
it's a new,
It's
a resolution.
moved and supported. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the agenda is now set. Approval of council minutes. We had 3 sets of meetings that are, we have the minutes too. It's the village council budget workshop. It's the village council meeting on May 22nd, and their joint meeting that we held on June the 12th with the DDA and the planning commission. Everybody's had a chance to review those, and they're ready for approval.
I have a question. Once it's approved, then we can talk.
Well, I'll make a motion then to approve the council budget workshop of May 2nd, 2023, the village council meeting of May 22nd, 2023, and the village joint meeting June 12th, 2023.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. Now we'll move on to discussion, and Melanie, you wanted to make a comment, I think?
Yeah, on the regular meeting, Monday, May 22nd, I didn't understand in number 5, approval of council minutes. Motion 2, it says 5A as presented, and motion 3, 5B. And I'm sure they attached to something, but I wasn't sure what. Was just my question.
Well, I sure don't have an answer to that either.
5A is the council minutes for April 17th.
The joint
That was
meeting.
the joint meeting with the DDA.
Okay, so for above here, so the above, so it goes 5A council, and then 5B is the regular up there. Okay, I'm with you now. And then the only other question was, and that's my fault for not looking at it soon enough, but, oh, was it in this one? I'm so sorry, guys. No, it was not in this one. Oh, here it is. It was in Monday, June 12th, joint meeting minutes. The NIVAL under 6, old business. My comments about, I discussed CDBG funding and grant writer and discussed moving minutes. I also made a comment that the strategic planner, in my opinion, was not needed, and I would like to just have that in there.
Well, here's what we're going to have to do. Is it the meeting of May?
June 12th.
Joint committee?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to be taken off of this agenda, and it is going to be placed on next month's agenda. So we're left with a approval of A and B. If somebody wants to make a new motion, I would think that would be more clear.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve which one is it? The budget workshop of May 2nd, 2023, and the village council meeting of May 22nd, 2023.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there further discussion on the meeting minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The minutes, those 2 sets are passed. The other one is going to go next month. Next on the agenda is item 6, acceptance items. Here we have a finance report from May 23 and a revenue expenditure report from May 2023 in your packet. Everybody's had a chance to look them over. Here's where we get back into this whole thing. These need to have a motion to be accepted, or they're just accepted? We're accepting them. Let's move on. Approval of disbursements. We do have a sheet that indicates that the village paid out $79,066.21, and that list is in front of us, and it's a one-page description of each expenditure. I had a chance to look it over, and it certainly looked fine to me, with one exception, and I have a question for Ryan, and that's what we pay to SEMCOG, and I'm just curious if that's monthly, annually, weekly, daily?
Annually.
What's that?
Annually.
Once a year payment?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several of those that fall in June for
Because
us.
if it were weekly, I'd say we get out of that.
Daily,
Certainly, good call.
I have a question too, Adam, when you're done.
Yes, I'm done.
Oh, I know that we have the costs of the 175th, like the Medicine Man caricature, the banner, I don't know if that was part of it. I'm sure it's part of the ads, they're not pulled out, but, so, is any other group other than Village Council paying for all the expenses for the 175th? Is anything coming out of DDA or the Historical Society?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Okay.
And the 175th group is fundraising actively to offset those costs.
Okay.
I have a question, Ken.
Yes, go ahead.
And I guess this kind of goes with what you said earlier, because I've thought this for a while. The, under approval of consent agenda D, attorney fees, they're always on our disbursements, so I really don't think they need to be both places. If somebody wants to look and see what it is, it's right there. So anyways, it was just a
Oh, and
comment, I
not
guess.
have the copy of what transpired?
Oh, I
Oh,
still
no,
like
no,
it
no,
in
no.
the...
Okay.
I'm just saying the amount, it's already listed here from the invoice under our consent agenda that we're
In
going
other
to
words,
do
we don't
away
have to
with.
approve it twice, but we do get to get a copy of it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I'm just saying,
We all get a chance to scrutinize it, but
Yeah.
we're only going to vote on it once.
okay, that's what yeah.
Okay? Any
And
other-
are we on disbursements right now?
Yes.
Okay. I did just have a comment on card member service, where it has a number of things listed, and the amount is...
Just throw us a place somewhere on the page where you think it is.
The bottom.
Yeah, it's
Bottom,
up there.
second one from bottom.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the $6,579.
Services misspelled too.
Yeah, for me, it'd be helpful if there is a more sizable amount on that. What do we normally average? We don't normally average that high.
Right, it's not normally that. It was the trees that put us.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, in any case when that's, a higher amount like that, it would be helpful to maybe have
Just note it
a
at
little
the
bit
bottom.
more detail around exactly what made up that larger amount like that.
Or it could be easier just to make a copy of the Amex statement and attach it to it.
Yeah.
And you can look and see whether
Yep.
they spent
And
$6 for a
if
shovel
it's-
at Ace.
If the total is within the village manager's discretion for approval, I don't need an itemized statement, but if it's
Yeah,
a
but we
higher
really
amount
haven't given them
like
any
this, it'd be
direction. You
nice.
say, if you think it's up around here, then do it. I would say either put the statement in or just leave it how we're doing it. And I don't mind having a little bit more detail as to what the 6,000.
Yeah, I do too, especially if it's larger like this, I'd
right.
prefer to have the detail.
But if it were
Kinda like-
3,000, I might be interested too as to what it was.
Yep.
So just to attach the Amex statement, it's not Amex, I'm sure it's,
Whatever it is.
whatever the company is, they give you a statement and it details it, and there would be no problem putting that with this, and we can see.
Can I ask a question on those trees then? Because I was gonna ask during the grant part, when you did a update. Because DDA on their budget has a budget line for trees. And for the grant, for the trees, it says downtown trees. So I assumed incorrectly that they were actually paying for it out of their budget, but we're paying for it, but they never came before us to do the grant. When we were told about it, it was basically that, DDA was going to apply for a grant, and I just assumed they're applying and it's out of their budget. But so now this is on our card, we paid for it, but yet they have in their budget downtown trees and a line item with money in it. So, I don't know.
The grant is a reimbursement grant. And similarly, the trees were delivered to the DPW yard, so Bob was standing there. It's nothing nefarious. It's we had to receive the trees.
We will receive money back, is that what you're saying, once the grant is approved?
We will, yes.
Okay, that's all we needed, because I saw they had that in their budget. So, okay, but yet it's on the card, okay,
It would be what you consider an
Perfect.
in and out thing? Okay.
It'll come back, yeah.
perfect.
The one I want to point out on there, since everybody is, the very first one, the ARPA fund transfer. You may remember that in March of 2022, might have even been February, we applied for a reimbursement from Oakland County for the sewer planning and all that good stuff. We put up just over 41,000 of our ARPA dollars and expected to receive half. We received it in May of 2023. We are among the first communities to get their half back from Oakland County, so.
Very good.
It took lots of wrangling.
Thank you, Ryan.
Woohoo!
I'll make a motion that we pay our bills in the amount of $79,066.21 for 5/15/23 to 6/15/23.
Roll call vote, please.
Nivell.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Just a public comments. I don't see anyone from the public that is here, but if there is anyone that's hiding that might want to address the village council, they certainly may. And we'll go right on past that. We're going to go to approval of this consent agenda. Looks like there's, the rough draft I had 9 items. We kind of shifted that down to, looks like just 5.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support?
Okay, is there any further discussion on the consent agenda?
Yeah, as you were saying, I would say all of these things is more acceptance items because we don't approve any of these minutes. So I agree
You
with
hit the nail on the head,
Yeah.
and it went from 9 down to 5, and it could go from 5 to 2
Or
in
0.
about a heartbeat.
Yeah, but now things like
Based
the
on this one.
permits, they do need to be in there still because those we are giving approval, but I don't see any of those in this month.
There aren't any in this.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that I've always found interesting, is the Historical Society meeting minutes. It seems unacceptable to me that we would approve minutes for a meeting we weren't at. So how would we know their validity of whether they are?
Exactly.
At the Planning Commission, they take minutes, and the next month, they approve their own minutes from their meeting. There isn't any reason for us to approve them later, we weren't there. So it's one of these things where it's a duplicate process that just isn't necessary. Now, I do want us to get a copy of it, of course we should.
Yeah.
But that's just an item we receive. It's like, it's just an item that we can have and go over. We can scrutinize it, we can call and ask questions, we can do anything we want. But we're not gonna approve it because unless you know something I don't, none of us can even attest to its validity.
Right.
Absolutely, that's correct.
And I can say on that, Ken, that the Historical Society does approve their own minutes.
And that's great. I think they should, everybody should.
Which is exactly what you're saying with the
Right.
planning
So there's like
commission.
that extra set of eyes that goes through and examines it and makes any corrections, be it clerical or either in content. And then, at that point, they're official. We're just receiving them because it's a courtesy for us to keep up to speed with some of these other committees that meet.
Exactly.
And that's what we can continue to do, but we can rearrange it differently.
Agreed.
Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Is there any other discussion about it? If not, roll call vote, please.
Nivell.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Green. George.
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. That is done with. On to item 10. That's items from trustees. And Tony, if you don't mind, I'm going to start over there with you because I know you have something. Or do you want to wait and do this when it comes up in on the agenda later, or you just want to run with it?
I don't really have anything, except for it's just the park, I mean,
Yeah, okay.
the pickleball park.
Yeah.
I looked at it the other day, it looks really nice. I talked to Jason Wilton, he's the contractor overseeing the project, and he had told me via text that everything is looking good. If you go by there and you see a lock on the gate, that is so the gentleman that's working there can get in and out. I thought somebody else had locked it, but they had clarified that for me. Other than that, that's about it, but it does look nice so far, so. We're still on schedule for.
So there'll be 2 there, right?
Huh?
There'll be 2 there when they finish?
Yeah, there's 2 there, and I believe, I've never seen a pickleball court, but it looks like they're going east to west
Okay.
instead of north to south, so,
That might be better for sun and
yeah.
not in
yeah.
your eyes, yeah, cool.
Linda, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Melanie?
Just that the 175th was really a nice event, and we had a lot of people show up, which was wonderful, and a lot of volunteers, and a lot of people helped make that work. Special kudos, thank you, Ryan. Ryan and I were here after a planning commission. He didn't get home till midnight. I got home at 11, sorry, Ryan. But doing the lights, and there was just, I don't know, I thought it was a very well attended and very nice event and great weather. And the markets have been really nice too. I went this past weekend and it was a good showing, and again, beautiful weather, so kudos to everyone who's helping make that happen.
Yeah, it is nice. I would agree with you on all those matters. Kay?
I was gonna say the same thing, and we can't, a lot of the stuff that's being done is done by volunteers and the staff during the daytime, so the ice cream social seemed to be a really big hit. We ran out of ice cream, so that's a good thing. And then the pet parade was maybe not quite as what we wanted, but you know what, it's a start, and those that were in it had fun, so. It was, all in all, it was a very good day.
Yeah, other
Everybody
parts of the
seemed to-
event kind of made up for the pep parade was a bit on the lackluster side, but
We need to have water.
But you have to try these things
We
to
gotta
see.
have water next time we do something.
Oh, we do.
That
We'll
was
talk
like,
about
the MML, there were a couple people that came to speak that asked for water, and
Yeah.
we didn't have any water. So.
Pat, how about you?
Yep, just 2 things. One on the time capsule. You may have read that the deadline has been extended another little bit to July 1st it is now, so that was an extension of the original one. And the bottom line is, it's been paid for, and everything now is a bonus. And just to second and third what other people have said, yeah, that Amos Horton's birthday was very, very nice, very well attended, and I was glad to see a picture in the paper, yeah.
So when it stops July 1st, what does that mean, that no one else can ever be in the time capsule? Even if there's still
I think
spaces?
they're going to extend it out even farther than that, personally.
Yeah, because if there's room, can't they just
I think so, Melanie,
just
sure.
keep taking? I don't know.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say talk to Kaz. And
Yeah, if somebody's
be
in
sure
charge,
before
so they would
July
know
1st.
how or why.
Yeah, because it'd be a shame to have a lot of spaces left. I mean, someone
Keep
next
going.
year might want.
I guess keep going, yeah, I agree, yeah.
I was just gonna ask, did we get our investment back yet from them?
Yes.
Well ahead.
I'm sorry?
We're ahead.
Okay. As long as we got it back, it's good.
Thanks, Pat.
That's
All right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to Kaz too, and he also confirmed, oh yeah, we already got our investment long ago. Our money's back out of it already. Yeah, I thought all the events were good. It was a shame that the food truck event had to be canceled and postponed, but on the second day when they actually did have it, seemed to have good attendance, which was nice. Only thing is, it did seem that traffic in the businesses was rather light for that event, so
It was rather what?
a little bit light at the food truck event.
Just a couple nights ago?
Yeah. Yeah, they say they get, their biggest are like, for example, Witches Night Out is big for
Yeah.
them, and there's a couple of big events that they get, but food truck events unfortunately don't bring as much business to the businesses, but they're still good events, and I like that. But yeah, the Amos Horton one was good, a lot of people around there, it was good to see people in town for that.
We have another one coming up on the 1st at the high school for
food truck?
fireworks, yeah.
Third.
Third,
Third.
forgot about that.
Third, yeah.
So come one, come all.
Yeah, exactly. I was at the food truck, but I always try to come early just because of that. And I've always wondered this, it's just gonna be my venting for a minute. You got a food truck and you're making whatever it is you're making, and there's a line of people. Now, you've got only a certain amount of time of which you're gonna be able to serve X number of tacos. And if it's a 20-minute wait to get a taco, at the end of the day, you probably have a lot of people that didn't get a taco or might have wanted one.
You didn't make as much
But
money as you could.
I'll be the last to ever tell anybody on a food truck how to run their food truck. Just, I come early so I can at least get something and not have a half-hour wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Because any time in the previous, I've come, you just can't get any. I mean, you're tied up for a long time for a guy to make a taco.
Anything with DDA?
Not that I'm aware of.
Budget's in your packet.
Yeah, I wrote that, I just figured since he went to the meetings, because not everything's captured. Then it must not, yeah, it's good then, that's a good thing,
Yeah.
right? There was not a.
Well, we held it a week early because there was a conflict with Matt and something else, so it was held early, but they went through their normal pony show. That takes care of items from trustees, and we're really gonna fly through item 11, unfinished business.
Alrighty.
If anybody doesn't mind, we can just even bypass it altogether. So,
Let's do it.
Let's go to item
Done.
12. Let's go to item 12, 2023, 2024 GDA budget. This is something that we have to approve because they are an arm of the village council government. And although they have their own bylaws and agendas and rules and meetings, we have to approve whatever budget they approve. And that's what we've been given, and we have to vote on their budget. I can't find it right now. Oh, yeah. I did go right by it.
Balance.
So we have to approve it before we can talk about it?
Well, yep.
Make a motion to approve the DDA budget for fiscal year 2023 to 2024 as presented.
Support?
Okay, moved in support. We can have a roll call vote on this after we have any discussion if somebody has any.
I just had a question on downtown improvement projects. Any idea what?
Where's that
Did they
under?
ever list what those are? It's under operating costs, capital improvements. Do you know how they do that? Kenny, did you guys talk about it, like what they're gonna be or anything? No.
I mean, I'm sure they talk about it. I don't, I look at the bottom lines in their budgets, and, you know, I'm always more concerned about the revenue end anyways. And how it gets divvied up and who makes those decisions, they do on a yearly basis. This is an annual budget, so they're like our budget. It's gonna be a guesstimate, and most of it's based on what was on last year. Pretty well true on that, Ryan?
Yeah, and Matt asked me if he needed to be here tonight, and I said no. So, my bad, I can follow up with him
Oh,
on that
darn
item
it.
specifically.
I have a question I probably would have asked them. There's under the,
If he was here, he wouldn't have had him, so.
Well, maybe we'll get lucky, and I know what the answer is. Don't count on it, though.
okay, this is under Main Street Committee expense. It's down about halfway through the lines down there, and it says there's no financial, or what do they call that? The budget number, but it says internship program, it says new program for $4,000. And I was just curious about this internship
Well,
program.
now, that one I can answer. They do have money set aside. They were going to hire somebody to be a market master and pay them a certain salary, and they found that to be a difficult project, difficult to find somebody to do. And I'm not even sure whose idea it was, but if they hired 2 interns, and they could split the duties of being market master and just do DDA intern work, that they would be getting more bang for their buck. So they're really saving money overall by having 2 interns get paid this summer to run the market.
Okay, yeah, it sounds interesting.
And they may be saving that money because I don't think they have one at this point, do they?
Right, they've got a lot of very good volunteers and 2 interns, and they're fast and furious and
Right.
put on really good markets. They're able to help with lots of other things too.
Yeah.
They dove right into.
I think the
all
cool
kinds of
thing
stuff.
about being an intern is your job description can be whatever it needs to be on
done.
that given day. So they're getting their money's worth, I think.
So then their market manager for 5,000 fixed costs is not really,
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, it may not come up. It's been included in the past, so left it, but the current model doesn't.
Yeah, because that was the goal, and that's still the
Right.
goal for like the coming years.
Maybe.
And next year, they may
Maybe, 'cause if this works
readjust it
out-
where they just eliminate that and get more in another one.
Volunteer.
Put that into something else.
yeah, if this is working out, that might be the way to go.
Okay, any other questions on the DDA budget from the council members? Roll call vote, please.
Nivell,
Yes, do we need a motion? Or we did, yes. I'm sorry, it's been so long.
Green,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes.
Did she ask you?
No?
Oh,
I did.
no.
I said Hayden. And that's when Melanie asked if we need a,
You started with Nivell.
right, and then you came right after.
Okay, Hayden?
Yep.
I didn't hear my name. Yes, okay. Let's wait.
Okay, item B is future use land map resolution. Apparently, we need a resolution because there's a land map here that had a couple of changes made. I think I pulled the map out just because I wanted to keep it separate, but nonetheless, we have a resolution, and
Make a motion to adopt the resolution for the master plan amendments to the future land use map and future land use plan of June 5th, 2023.
Support?
okay, moved and supported. Before we discuss it, Melanie can, I'm sure, assure us as it's went through the planning commission in its standard fashion.
Yep.
Okay.
And there was a public hearing.
All the.
Wait, before we do that, I just noticed I have a second one in here.
Yeah, the first one is, that has the pretty border, is the one from the planning commission.
Okay, but you want us to approve it on today's date? I guess is what I'm asking, because I need to change the date. All
Oh, the June 26th, yeah.
In front, yeah.
right, same motion, except with the date of June 26th, 2023.
Well, yours would be coming from.
Second
It's
page.
the second page. So the first page is from the planning commission where they approved it. Now it has to go in front of you saying you guys need to approve.
Right,
a
the first one, I
resolution.
said, that's the one I read was June 5th. Now I'm saying June 26th for us.
Okay,
Declare it
sorry,
adopted
I misunderstood what you were referring to.
Amber, would you like us to include the resolution number 2023-005 in the motion?
Yeah.
Why not? We'll put
Yes.
it in.
I guess I just thought you'd fill that in, sorry.
Moved and supported. Any discussion on this? We already went through the fact that it's gone through all of the proper protocols to get to us. Okay, I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Nivell,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Ryan, is there another one of
Amended the
these that I
master
sign
plan.
at the office, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a pretty one.
You'll get a pretty one.
Got it.
And then it gets put in with our master plan henceforth. That's kind of a big deal.
Capital improvement plan. Apparently, this is a requirement of the budget that we adopted, but we have to have a capital improvement plan, and one has been provided to us.
It's actually a requirement of planning commission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's in here. All we gotta do is adopt it.
I make a motion to approve the capital improvement plan for 2023 through 2030 as presented.
Or is
Support?
2030 or 2024?
Well, it says 2030 on it.
This is 2023 through 2030. This is projected out all the way through 2030.
Well, great, we can visit this 6 years in.
You all remember what it's about
The
then.
planning commission will probably review it annually and make adjustments.
Can and should.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
We ha-
what,
Yeah. we
that's
have
why
to.
they,
And actually, I was going to, now that we got a motion that was supported, right?
yeah, but I didn't hear the support yet.
Support.
There it is. Further discussion?
Yes, I would like to have some further discussion, and I'm fine with approving the way it is now, because I assume it will be reviewed, but one of the concerns I had was looking at the placemaking, where they had projected in the capital improvement plan to have $100,000 a year over several years for burying overhead lines, which I think is a good objective or goal. But my concern with that amount of money going into placemaking is that when we look at major streets and local streets, there is nothing significant planned after the year 2027 in the capital improvement plan. And I think it would be prudent for the planning commission to consider putting some kind of, just like they have under drains, future drain projects, to have some kind of a amount allocated each year under major streets and local streets for road improvements, because they're not going to go away as of 2027. So I think that they should, when they next review this, consider whether there should be some monies allocated into the streets, because we know that they're going to need ongoing repairs.
I hope they do that. Any other comments on the land use development motion? Roll call, please.
Nivell,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Rosenberry.
Yes. Takes us to personnel policy update approval. The personnel policy, the personnel committee has been looking at updating the policy and procedure book, and it's quite a chore, but they've been doing it section by section, I suppose. We were given a copy of a proposal to vote on adopting, and
Yes, but.
Yeah, right, here we go.
We met tonight and this afternoon, and we pulled a couple of sections. If you will turn to the third page from the back, it's called separation. And we are going to pull that plus flexible scheduling and the appeal procedure. We're going to pull that out until the next meeting. So what we're voting on is everything else. And it has been approved by the attorney. At least we got, he signed off on it. I'm not sure if he read it or not, but it was all approved. So we can add these. These are some of the things we worked on all last year. And because it's a living, breathing document, there are other areas that we're going to work on. But right now, we're just going to vote on what's here. If you're interested, the next few things that we're going to try to work on are the compensation section, the definition of part-time, full-time, and seasonal employees. And we had some temporary, and we thought maybe we don't want to use that word because temporary might imply that they could, they might be waiting to get a job from us. And most of the time, these they really are seasonal employees. They're just there for either the winter or the summer. So we want to correct that. The conviction policy, we need to write up a policy on what we will and won't accept as far as people's history with the police force in our hiring process. And then the drug testing consent authorization and the employee statement of acknowledgement. We're going to work on all of them, but those are the 5 that we're going to try to address in the next few months. So if you have any questions or any thoughts, please feel free to get them to Tony, Melanie, or myself. So now we need to vote on this.
So you took
We're
out
we're
some.
voting on it minus 3 items?
Minus
Right,
three,
right.
yes, separation,
Yep.
flexible scheduling, and appeal procedure.
So those 3, if we just identify them as that section.
Right.
We don't have to get any more in detail about
No.
that, and we can just
No,
vote.
we will be hopefully bringing it back to the board before too long.
Okay, I'll take a shot at this.
All right,
I make a
so-
motion to approve the updates to the personnel policies as presented without the, you said the separation
Separation.
policy,
The
the
flexible
flexible
Scheduling.
scheduling,
The appeal procedure.
and the appeal procedure policies.
Support.
Support, no,
Linda will support.
Linda, moved and supported, roll call.
Your efforts.
Any other discussion other than the way Kay laid this out? I thought it made perfect sense, and we'll be seeing more on it coming up in the near future.
Yeah, I just comment, I did read through them, and there's a few little minor things, but nothing that I see as any significant issue in terms of the content, and the attorney already checked it out. I'm not going to be worried about it.
Well, I also feel the good part about this is you mentioned it, a living document, we can make amendments, changes, redactions just on a whim when we need to.
Well, we shouldn't do it just on a whim, but
The whim should have some.
If we see a need.
What I mean is, it doesn't take an act, we don't have to wait another year to make a change to this. We can, if somebody has an issue and brings it up and there's support for it, we'll put it on an agenda, and then it becomes an amendment to this book, so.
well, we've been waiting a long time to
I
get
know,
these
so
done. I
we're
know,
making
I
some
was
steps
working on
here,
them
we're
too,
getting
so.
something
Yes,
that we
I mean,
didn't.
we did all this work and nothing came before council, so we wanted to at least get to you. And if I might add, when we do the personnel policies, we also are trying to make them coherent and go with the rules and regulations, so that everything is worded the same, so that we don't run into an issue, because,
Where they contradict each other.
yeah,
And that's good, that's what,
so it's more than just, it's not an easy thing to do, but.
I'd like to say, are you done?
yes, go ahead.
If you see on the bottom, we put the last reviewed, 6/15. So tomorrow, well, starting today, I guess, that date will be last approved with today's date. And when we bring the next sections to you, those sections will have a different date. These dates here that we approve these on, they're not, they're gonna be the dates that we did them on. So the book isn't gonna be all one date,
Right.
so.
Okay, anybody else have a comment on the personnel policy? Roll call vote, please.
Nivell,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes,
Green,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Oh, yes.
Brooks,
yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes, and Tony's just still only counted as one vote.
Come on, with all that excitement.
I do like it, though. The enthusiasm is just great. Item E, consideration of trustee pay. There was something in our packet that Melanie prepared for us. And she would like the village council to consider adjusting their pay, and I'm pretty sure it's downward. Melanie, now I can't, here it is. Yep, got it. So she put in a letter with it as well. So I'm gonna have Melanie explain her letter first, and then do a motion and then discussion, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
It's out of order a little bit, but it's just that for giving people an opportunity to frame this. And before, well, go right ahead.
Or are you comfortable with that then? or-
I'm comfortable with the procedure of doing it. I
Okay.
am adamantly opposed to doing it, but that's just,
Oh, well, okay.
right.
Hey, it's my third time trying
I
it. Okay.
I hear you get 6 tries.
Oh, I'm gone after one more try, man. All right, so as you know, every year I bring forward to either reduce it or, and for some people with this letter and how I described it to all of you, for some people, this would actually be an increase, depending on how busy you are with council. And for those that are very busy, it obviously, it's where they take the hit. But Other areas, and I put on there the surrounding community examples, Village of Holly, they get $15 a meeting. Goodrich, $35 a meeting. There are other areas that just do a flat figure for the year. So you get these 600 or the 800, and that's it. And that comprises all your meetings. So whether it's a subcommittee, a committee, a special, a workshop, it doesn't matter. And it really does help with budgeting. And it also helps with payroll. And my comment in here also was, if, Beth isn't doing payroll every other week, and she only has to do it annually or every 6 months, that would free her up to cross-train and do some other duties in the office as well. But I just think, this all came about, just so you have a little history, former council members were really abusing the system at one point, and they'd walk in the office, and every time they'd have a conversation with someone in there, and this happened, 4 people, conversation, they went from the clerk to the manager to the below, and they would put in that those were meetings, and they would get paid for every time they spoke to someone in the office. So I went to a council meeting, asked that be changed because it was abuse of our tax dollar as far as I was concerned. Citizen did a very good story on it as well, and that made changes. That made changes to what is an approved meeting and who approves them. And finally, somebody was looking at the timesheets, which meant village manager and village president. Here we are now. And we did change recently in the last 2 years that you can mark if you want to be paid for a meeting or not. And I will tell you why I push for that. When I was on Heritage, Wayfinding, Personnel, Planning, and Village Council, all at the same time, I would have been bringing in thousands of dollars of taxpayer dollars. I don't feel that would be correct. And the way it's set up right now, anybody can do that. I just chose not to. Had this been the prior committee, they could have done it, and it would have, it's approved. It was in the rules and regulations. So that's kind of what I'm trying to stop, is abuse in the future, because not everybody will do that. I did not elect to get paid for what I did on Heritage and Wayfinding. I did that for free. Because there were other volunteers there that were doing it for free. So just keep that in mind, that, especially with the 175th and what other committees and subcommittees there are, and if you don't want to lower your pay, can we at least do those at a lower amount, like $35? Because those could be 3 times a week. And I just think we can pay, we can do better with our money, taxpayer money at least.
Okay, that was Melanie's introduction. Melanie, we really can't make a motion unless you are prepared to make one as to which one of these options you're asking the council to consider, because if you're asking us to consider all of them, we can't consider them all at once.
No, but I could make one, you guys can decline it, and then we can go to another one.
I guess
That's kind of what we have to do.
We can go down the road.
I'll make a
I've got couple
motion.
options here.
Based upon option 2, I'll make a motion to reduce payments for committee meetings to $35 per meeting and keep the regular scheduled village council meetings at the current rate of whatever it was, $55 a trustee and $75 a president.
Going once, going twice. No support. No discussion.
Okay, well, I would like to make a motion that trustees are paid at a rate of $800 annually, and president is paid at a rate of $1,000 annually. Pay would be inclusive of all business related to the village council. Total proposed budget would be $5,800.
Support.
All those moved and supported on that last measure, I could like to speak first on this item and say it's, to me, fixing something that isn't broken. I believe that the council members can and should receive it's not pay, it's a stipend, and it's a stipend to attend official meetings, and every governmental agency offers it, because people are giving up things, and they may have to hire a babysitter, and they may have to pay certain expenses, and if anybody thinks that we're doing this for the money, I can assure them they're making a big, huge mistake there, because nobody is on a council to make money.
If that were the case, I think a lot of people would be running. We have to beg, borrow, and steal to get people to serve on the council.
But yet you
Yes, it
have
is.
people getting paid $10 or $15 a meeting.
That's cool, and they get to pick what they want.
Fair.
And I agree that you mentioned there was some, some people were taking some liberties that we would all agree they shouldn't be. But under the system where they turn in a sheet for what they're gonna ask to get paid for, and it's reviewed, and it becomes a problem, we would take a look at it then. I think this is fixing something that isn't broken. I think the pay rate we are getting is not too high, not too low. It evolved to this point. When I was the president in 2008, the pay was $55. It's now $75, and it's 15 years later. I don't think that that's been, it's $1.20 a year that the rate's gone up.
And it has, we haven't changed it in over 20 years. It was way back when I was on council before that we did raise it a little bit just to cover, if people do have to have a babysitter or whatever. For some of those meetings we were having when they were 4 hours long, nobody could have gone, childcare alone would have prevented them from
If
attending.
anybody tells me at this table, it didn't take them at least 2 hours over the weekend to go over this packet, they're crazy. They got time invested in this. And, so you just can't say that a meeting starts at this time and ends at this time, that was worth, $55. It's all-inclusive of what you have to do to be a member of this council. So you're collecting a stipend, not a pay rate, to attend and run your duties as a village council person. I don't think anybody put in to attend the Amos Orton event, nor should they. They went there because...
But they can if they want.
Well,
I don't know.
no.
That's not a meeting.
Oh, no.
I would like
I'm just saying, none of us on this council, to my knowledge,
Okay,
does
but
that.
that's this council,
okay.
like I
I had the
said.
floor, and I'm...
I would have been making $8,000 a year.
Okay, and I think somebody
Just
would have,
saying.
I think the rules would have then had to be defined far more stricter than they are now. I think everybody uses their conscience, and everybody puts in for what they believe that they're entitled to.
Not everybody is like
Okay, well,
I would like an opportunity to.
okay, but
also-
as soon as I'm done, Larry, you'll be the next one I call on. I just strongly believe that this is an item that should be left alone, and if there's a problem, we fix the problem. We just don't unilaterally cut everybody's stipend
It
because
wouldn't
somebody...
have, it would have raised some people. Let's just be
Okay,
honest about it.
it's a pay cut, and it's a
Not for
stipend,
some.
it's a reduction in stipend. Let's not even call it pay.
At what I presented, it would have been an increase for several members.
Wonderful. I am just not in favor. of it.
That's like
And now I was
rewarding people who don't have very many meetings, that they're gonna make more money as, the others that are on 5 committees, Melanie. That doesn't make sense to me either.
Okay, Larry?
Yes, I feel similar to Ken. I think that it is fair pay for the amount of time we put in. I would be willing on the committee meetings because they don't take as much preparation in some cases as a regular council meeting, although I know sometimes when you were doing things like working on those personnel policies or a planning commission meeting, things like that, there can be a lot of time involved just to go over material and research prior to some of those meetings. But I would be willing to take less pay for committee meetings. And my own case, I do frequently, when I have multiple committee meetings in a month, I won't claim all of them to get reimbursed.
But we have to rein this in, and there's a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
Yes.
The discussion has to stick strictly to that motion.
We've already had the
Not
other
just
motion.
Off in left
Wasn't-
field, because we all have an opinion on this. I'm gonna call it to a vote, and we're gonna
I also
know.
feel that changing it from paid per meeting to paid, just a
You
flat
can't
rate.
change the motion, Larry.
I'm not asking to change the motion.
Well, you're
This
commenting
is-
on changing the motion.
I'm not commenting on changing the motion. She made a motion to change from paid per meeting to a flat rate.
So
That's the
let's stick
motion,
to that.
right?
Yeah, that's what we're voting on
I'm
right
trying
now.
to stick to that. My comment is that by changing from paid per meeting to a flat rate, it can, in some cases, disincentivize people from making the meetings or
Sure, but-
doing those committee meetings. and
Sure,
things like
I mean, we can all look at this a different way and under a different set of
And-
goggles and come up with different versions.
Yes, and I agree with you. I don't think it's fair that somebody who puts in a lot of effort and attends all the meetings diligently gets their pay cut, and it's the same as somebody who misses half the meetings.
Okay.
that's
Any
my
other comments on Melanie's motion?
I'd like to make a comment.
On her motion?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion to make this an annual, in agreement to what Larry said also, but I feel that as you put in the time and you put in the hours, and when it becomes a lot of time and hours, and you may feel you have expense for that specific, you would want to be reimbursed, to have it an annual thing is an all or nothing. And for that, Kay kind of alluded to that too, that then if I am not needed to put in a lot of things that are to my personal expense, and I don't know 4 months from now if that's gonna be the case, I said, no, you know, I think you either accept it or you don't accept it, as we're allowed to do now. If I had to decide not to accept it for the entire year and then find I'm putting in a lot of expense, and I've already agreed not to accept it, or I accept it and don't put in expense, I said, it does not sit well with me to have it a one time, all or nothing.
Okay, if there's nobody else who wants to comment on this, I'm going to ask for a vote on that motion.
Let's have the motion again, because I've lost track of the
Read it,
motion.
it's item number,
It's the same
Kristen?
one. Larry did option 2 on your her
Okay, option
paperwork.
one,
I did
got it.
option
All right.
1.
The
Yeah, and
annual.
just a comment on, I want to say that the taxpayers got a great deal out of me, being on 6 committees and not charging, and planning is heavy. Heritage was heavy, wayfinding, they were all very time consuming. I was doing something every day for the village.
But you did have the option of putting in for it.
It would have
You
been
chose not to.
thousands
but you had the
But you
option to not do
dollars.
it. I mean,
It
you
would have
could-
been thousands of
Okay,
dollars.
but you had the option to not do it. Your time is valuable.
I did
You're
try and
choosing-
get off a couple.
Right, you're choosing to do these things. They're
Not
voluntary.
necessarily, but.
Well, I think you are.
Some
There's
were
nothing-
and some were not. Some were put on us when we got on council, Ken.
Well,
so.
if something was put on you and you want off it, you let me know. Because I don't want anybody
It
to
wasn't
be.
you. It wasn't you. It was prior.
Okay, there we go, and is everybody clear what the motion is? More importantly, is everybody clear how they're
I
gonna
would rather
vote?
hear Amber read the motion
Yeah.
than have Melanie.
Hope it's gonna read just like option 1 does here.
Yeah, go ahead, Ann.
Amber,
Option 1, trustees are paid at a rate of $800 annually. President is paid at a rate of $1,000 annually, with a total proposed budget of $5,800.
Well, you need to say this pay would be inclusive of all business workshops, committees, all meetings that are conducted for village council business.
That's what it said.
That's critical that that's in there.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
Okay.
on it.
All right.
roll call.
Nivell,
yes.
Hayden,
No.
Green,
No.
George,
No,
Randazzo,
Yes.
Brooks,
No.
Quisenberry.
No.
okay.
That motion's down, 5-2.
Woo-hoo, down in flames. Until next year, council.
Well, I hope you wait till next year. That's 3 times this
That's
year.
what, no, it's not. It's once every budget, every fiscal budget. So it'll be next June. All right.
And you're just, well, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, on to F, resolution for RAP 2.0 grant. I guess we applied for a grant and it requires a resolution.
Make a motion to approve the revitalization and placemaking grant resolution of 2023.
Support?
Approval for a grant, moved and supported. Anybody want to discuss it further, or?
Yeah, Ryan, can you tell us about it?
The RAP 2.0 is one through the MEDC. It's one we were disappointed that there's a pretty sizable local match. However, Oakland County is applying on behalf of 13 communities, including us. They are going to use Oakland County ARPA funds as the majority of the match. We'll still have to put some skin in the game, but it's significantly less. Matt and I have been working, the DDA is also gonna supply part of the match. So we've been working to fine tune our application with the Main Street folks who are pretty demanding in all the specs and all the fun docs we've been sending back and forth for 2 weeks. It will be applied for by the end of this week, but your support on this resolution is critical, I'd say. It's important, it's a big piece of the puzzle.
So how much are you asking for, and what would our match be?
So up to 500 grand, I don't have it in front of me. The local match is up to 22% that we would match with the DDA. We're not gonna ask for the full 500,000.
Right, what are you asking for?
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
Because that way
We've been going back and forth.
I'll only approve what I know what you're asking for, and then up to 20% of what you're asking for.
This is just a resolution.
Oh, so you guys haven't, so it's a resolution, you guys are doing it regardless and not letting us know what you're asking for?
we're asking for up to 500,000 in total funds.
But you said you're not asking for that full amount.
We're probably not, but we're asking for up to hedge our bets.
It's kind of like your overdraft limit at the bank.
Exactly.
Is there a reason you're asking for that full amount? I mean, there must have been a reason why you guys decided to go with the full amount versus a less amount. I think that's.
No, we've been going back and forth on it, and we're likely to end up at a lesser amount based on conversations between Main Street, Oakland County, the DDA, a couple contractors in town as we've put together costs. Our Heritage Garden plan with Ron Campbell had a lot of the costs in there, and we filled in a couple of the blanks. There were a few that were TBD as part of our plan, so we've been meeting to talk about those. And based on those, that's where it gets fuzzy of a total number.
Is Oakland County allotting this much just to Ortonville?
Yes.
Okay.
They're at about 15 million total across the 13 communities.
And in what fiscal year would we have to come up with the matching funds? Would that be this current fiscal, well, the 2023, 2024, or in a following year?
It would be potentially in the, so because it's ARPA funds, they're tied to it, it'd be by December of 2024. So depending on when we want to build, if we were awarded the full amount, it could be the tail end of this fiscal year or likely into next, into 24, 25.
Okay. I just wanted to know whether it would have any significant impact on this year's budget that we just approved.
It shouldn't.
Okay.
So we could owe matching funds of up to 22%.
It's in that ballpark.
And so what is 22% of 500,000?
100.
110,000. Do we have 110,000?
110,000, then how much would DDA pay?
Okay, just
This
keep
year?
in mind,
Next year, maybe.
applying for an amount doesn't mean that's what you get. They typically say ask for the moon and maybe you'll get half.
No, I just want to make sure.
The
we're
other
covered.
thing is, even when you apply and approve, until you accept those funds,
Okay.
you always have a way out. If you decide
Right.
you're not gonna do it, it's like, don't send us the check. Or send it and we're not gonna cash it, we're gonna mail it back. So we are never, ever have our hands tied to a $110,000 obligation that we don't have in our account right now.
Yeah, we just approved a sidewalk project that did not utilize the full amount of the funds that we had available from the grant, so.
And it's a common practice, I'm sure.
Probably. All right, I just needed a little clarification. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to village manager annual
Okay, I do.
evaluation.
We need
You
to
vote on the resolution.
Or a yea or nay?
We
Was-
talked about it.
Yes, was there even a motion?
I made a motion.
Yes, yes.
And it was approved, a roll
Yes.
call vote.
Yes.
Yes. I vote.
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
That was still only one.
Green,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Brooks,
Doing them this way, I don't.
Bear.
Yes. Village manager annual evaluation. We got in our packet, evaluation form. Tony came around at the beginning of the meeting and gave us a revised version of that. So if everybody has that revised version that Tony gave us, maybe the best way to keep things straight is we also have a manila envelope.
Right.
So let's, at this time, so we don't make a screw up and use the wrong form, put the right one or the newest edition one in the envelope And we're gonna get some instructions from Tony right now on how
From
this
me.
is gonna.
You're gonna get them from me.
Okay, on how this will-
Sorry. Just a reminder, I guess, if you will. 1 means it's a low rating, and 5 is high, doing an excellent job. If you don't have knowledge about a particular subject, we ran into this last year, so just a little clarification, put NA somewhere next to it. Don't just leave it blank, and don't just put a 5 in or a 1 in because you don't know. We're trying to, get this as tight as we can. If you do rate a 1 or a 2, meaning horrible and not much better, then please fill out the comments section. And by that I mean, give us an idea of what you're talking about, why you think that it's not better than a 1 or a 2. When you fill out the evaluation, we need you to give it to Tony in an envelope and have it at the village office, this envelope, this pretty manila one. You can keep a copy for yourself if you want. Drop it off at the village office by this Friday, June 29th. Thursday.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Thank you.
Thursday,
I
what's
forget,
the date?
they don't work on Friday. The 29th. Tony will compile the results by 7/7, and then the Personnel Committee, we're going to meet on that Monday, 7/10, to review it. Now, what we're wondering is, how do we want to handle this once everything's compiled? Did you have something?
I do. I have a suggestion that we make is, once it's compiled, the village council will call for a closed session with the village manager to go over his evaluation in private.
Okay. Yeah, that would give him opportunities to ask us and, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
But it's this Thursday, we're gonna have it in by this Thursday, so yeah.
This Thursday, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I was trying
it's
to-
not that long, and it's,
Okay, that's fine.
you try to make it as concise as you can, and everybody's not always a 5 or always a 1.
Okay.
Anyway, so, then we will, do we want to set up now when we want to meet for this closed session, or?
Here's what we can do, and I was going to ask this of Ryan. We spoke about a closed session the other day, and we pushed it back. Or I asked that we not have I'm the attorney. I'm always of the opinion that if we're going to have a closed session, we could kill a couple birds with one stone. So maybe in a few weeks, we'll have some more information from our attorney regarding, the marijuana situation.
Pending litigation.
So we could call for a closed session meeting, and at the moment, we would sit with 2 agenda items, one being manager evaluation, the other being legal update on marijuana. So, as it relates to village manager evaluation, I think we should,
Date to come, huh?
Date.
We'll have a date to
think we
come.
should,
Well, I think, I'm sorry.
we didn't do a motion yet, right?
No.
Okay, somebody, maybe Kay, could do a motion that included these dates on it, so it's official.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we complete the manager's evaluation by Thursday, June 29th at 5 o'clock, no later than 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Drop it at the village office and just, put Tony's name on the outside. Tony's gonna pick them up, and he will compile them by July 7th. The Personnel Committee will review them on Monday, 7/10. And then there will be a closed session to be determined.
Yes, to be determined, it'll probably fall somewhere between, say, the 12th and the 18th.
There will be a,
If I may, real quick.
Yeah,
I definitely want to be here for that meeting,
for the closed session?
yes, but
Well, we'd love to have you.
I will be gone the 13th, 14th, and will not be back until the morning of the 18th.
Well, let's just do this. Every council member's got their own different things going.
Right.
If somebody would just coordinate with me, the dates they cannot be in attendance, in the month of July, let me know, and I'll make sure that we get to work around that, because I don't think anybody wants to miss a closed session.
Right. Did you get all that, Amber?
I mean, that's not part of the motion. That's-
Well, just that the village, the closed session is to be
Evening session?
determined, but it's probably gonna be the third week of July.
Depends on whether it's evening or.
You know, I'll probably individually poll some people in the next week or two about what works
Yeah.
out better for them time-wise and day-wise, and try to work out any bugs. Now, the absolute worst-case scenario is we have a July meeting.
Right.
We just don't necessarily want to wait that long to handle these two items, because they're pretty important.
Right.
And closed sessions tend to be inconvenient to the public and anybody else who wants to speak to the village about business. So, in this closed session, I think would be allocate enough time where it's not a 5 or a 10-minute meeting, where it could just be tacked on to the beginning or end of a different one. That's the logic there, and it's to get it done, you know, in that second week of July.
Okay, second week of July. All right, okay. That's all I have on that. Anybody have any questions on it?
Anybody have any support?
Well, we gotta do
Support.
that,
Okay, is there any other questions before we vote on it?
Can you just read it one more time? I'm a little slow. What do we vote?
Sure. We're asking,
Well,
making
should
a
Amber
motion.
read it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Requesting the closed session for the results of the manager review that is due on 6/29, which is this Thursday, to be reviewed by the Personnel Committee on 7/10, and a closed session date to be determined.
No, it didn't start out with requesting a closed session.
Let me just think for a minute. I wanted to make a motion that the evaluations be done Thursday, June 29th, and in the office by 5 o'clock.
Good.
Tony will compile the results by 7/7, and the Personnel Committee will review them on Monday, July 10th. After that, we are going to set up a date for the closed session to go over the findings with the village manager
To be
and
determined.
council to
Yeah.
be determined.
Right, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Sounded like muddy water, but I think it's all clear what we're doing here. I'd like to ask for a roll call vote.
I vote.
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
and Quisenberry.
Yes. Okay, that takes care of item G. I'm gonna ask,
Oh, can I mention one thing?
you sure can.
Seal those envelopes. Please,
When you bring them in.
Okay. When you turn them in, seal them.
Yeah.
You know, from my days at the police department, we had this evidence tape that's really cool.
I was gonna go to that one and sign your initials to it.
Tamper-proof, man, you cannot, you can steam it, you can do anything, and it,
I'm
I
not
think
sure we
it's,
need all that, but
it's
yes.
fair to Ryan
Yes.
that they be
That's-
sealed.
Yes,
That's,
absolutely.
So, please.
And I should have mentioned that.
I just thought that went without saying, but
Well,
it's good that you, I guess.
You said
say it.
everything else, so we might as well
Yeah.
say that.
I'm gonna ask council to do something right now that we don't usually do, and it has to do with the way our agenda played out tonight and the way this meeting is. Have with you a piece of paper and a pencil right now. Now is the portion where it's the manager's report. I'm gonna ask,
No, we got one more item.
Yeah, you got your,
Yeah, we got an
H.
budget resolution.
Resolution for the
Letter H.
I skipped it
resolution.
over. Budget item H, the business resolution that
Budget resolution.
belonged in that other section, but I reluctantly wouldn't move it for Larry. But that is now the item. I think we explained it all well. The budget was done and voted on and approved, but it does require a resolution to be, and that was passed out to all of us. So we can take the next step.
I make a motion to approve the resolution of the Village of Ortonville budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2020.
Support.
All right, moved and supported, and it's a resolution, so I'd like to have a roll call.
Nivell.
Yes.
Hayden.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Okay, that concludes all of the new business items, all the way through and including letter H. Next is the manager's report. Here is what I'd like to ask of all the council members. Please have a pen and a piece of paper in front of you right now. I'm going to ask that Ryan go through his items A through F. As you think of a question that comes up, jot it down or jot yourself a little note, because when he is done giving his report, everybody at this table will have an opportunity to ask him as many questions as they want on items A through F. But we won't be stopping in between to get off into the weeds somewhere until the presentation is done.
That's fair.
Ryan, is that okay with you?
Sounds good.
I like it.
Ready? Lightning round.
Hey, wait a minute, I was gonna say, we
Say go yet.
got the 3-minute egg timer, it ain't ready.
We got it.
First got it.
Just take your time.
All right, from the top of the order, working on special event process. With a lot of input, I will be soliciting input from the village council in the coming weeks. Next up, CDBG update. We've corresponded with Oakland County quite a bit on our submission. We cannot change our allocation at this point, but we can in the future. They've submitted the stuff to HUD for review. Next is the notice on public hearing for the sewer project, the Northwest Oakland Sanitary Sewer. There's a hearing scheduled for tomorrow, and then your packet has the other update. So Brian updated that Genesee County is working to design the project and put it out to bid for work to begin and be completed by 2025. The $1 million from Alyssa Slotkin's office is being used to engineer the Oakland County portion, so we'll meet in more detail as we get our studies together and all that good stuff that we've been working on with Rowe. And then work will continue to finalize the operating agreement with Genesee County. So well underway, things are moving right along. And then grants update, there's been several lately, the Michigan Arts and Culture Council, which we did a non-resolution for before, but we're in support of. The RAP 2.0 grant we just did. The Spark grant round 2 was submitted earlier today. It's not due till midnight, so I beat it by a few hours. And then we received the Local Road Improvement Program grant through Oakland County. We use that for crack seal annually. And then we also planted lots of trees, like we discussed earlier. And then I'll be reviewing grants for the Michigan Arts and Culture Council in July. Your packet has the transit survey for Northwest Oakland County. There's a QR code and a link on there. Please complete that if you haven't. Encourage residents to do so as well. And then SEMCOG is hosting public workshops to plan the transportation, the Vision 2050. I handed you the flyer just before the meeting, but there's a code on there. They get as close as Commerce. So if you're interested in joining one, if you don't weigh in, you can't wrestle. So if you show up, you get heard. And then other updates, we've talked about meeting locations, still discussing that with Brandon Township, figuring out the best idea for where we should meet in the future, more to come in the future. We've talked about some intergovernmental agreements for facilities and usage of village equipment and things like that. More info to come. A process to better support and communicate with our businesses is also being discussed. And then a small urban meeting has been scheduled for July 11th to reallocate those funds that Larry mentioned that we didn't use our full allocation. So we will, I'm working on a couple projects to solicit funds at that meeting. And then July 1st is the last day to get in the time capsule. It's been busy. They've been going like hotcakes. There are still spots left, but it's going quickly. So if you know anyone who wants to be on there and is still scratching together the money, please talk to Kaz. And then the website is well underway. Amber and I met last week with the design team working on site mapping. So I'm making a really fun PowerPoint of the layers to our website. It's really exciting if you want to come see it. It's thrilling. It will be completed by fall. We have a go live date before November is when our current website is set for obsolescence. And then a couple other things in your packet. You've got the BGYA list of chair of committees and all the good people on their board for your reference. And then you've also got the SEMCOG distracted driving law handout as that takes effect later this week. So we put that on the village website. If you know anybody who has an issue with texting and driving, please let them know as well. Don't text it to them though. And that is all I got for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'll start off here first. In regards to the special event permit process, kicking this around the last couple days, and it seems to be something that everybody in this council is chomping at the bit to get done. I would like to, at this time, appoint a 3-member village council to form a committee for the purpose of designing an event permits form that is suitable for the village council, and to have it completed within 30 days and in our packets for the July meeting. Probably take 1 or 2 meetings to do that. Obviously, Ryan's input for this would be well valued as well. So the 3 members who are going to be on that newly appointed committee are going to be, first I'll ask for volunteers.
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
I'm good. We
Well,
all got
sounds
it.
Oh,
like-
we got a lot of
people.
volunteers.
Yeah.
Kate, you got it. Who else wanted?
Randazzo
Melanie,
said first.
Randazzo.
I do a lot of coordinating with events as part of CERT team too, so I think my input would be good. But it's up to what you want to do, Ken.
Yeah, see, that's a tough one.
Roll the tape back.
Huh?
You were first.
How about this? Well, timing
That's
isn't.
what it comes to.
I think
We were
I have.
doing
that's
days
funny.
first.
I think
You
I
were
have
first.
a way here of solving this problem and possibly saving the village some money at the same time. The ad hoc committee to review this is going to be Kay, Melanie, and Tony. If anyone wants to make a comparison that that's exactly the personnel committee, it actually is. They are going to be meeting at least once or twice in the next several weeks. So maybe they too can kill several birds with one stone, and in one meeting cover a couple different events. And it will probably also be necessary to have another meeting besides just your personnel matter. But I think if you could do it, have something to give to us at the next meeting, and we can vote on it, would be working at God's speed. But I think we'll get something we like.
Would there be an opportunity for those who have additional comments they would like to make in the process?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Everybody gets
absolutely.
input. It's just, if we all tried to do it, it would be too convoluted, and if we relied just on Ryan, whose hands are full with a bunch of things, maybe some of us wouldn't get as much input as we might want with it. So the committee process is probably the best, but you're always open to meet with any of those committee members, except not at a meeting, because it'd be forwarded.
Right.
But you and Melanie, you and Kay, you guys.
I'm thinking email.
Emails, yes, you
that-
guys certainly
that-
can and should, because I know that people on this committee and any other committee love getting input from the other council members. And it helps them form their, whatever their final product's gonna be based on, it's almost like taking an internal poll without having to take a poll.
Just don't send it to all 3 of us at one time, because that's considered an open meetings
yeah, I was
act
just
violation.
OMA.
Send it individually, or one of us is fine. I'm assuming whoever would bring it up.
Should we have put all our input to one person to avoid the potential?
I would put them to Ryan and let Ryan send them out.
He can't do that either.
He's on the committee.
No, he's not. Is he? Is he?
Yeah, he's part of personnel, of course he is.
No, he's not.
Wait,
He's
okay.
not part of this
But
committee.
he can also, he could collect the other council members' input and share that with the committee,
So this
right?
isn't a
No?
event
Can I
committee.
just
Yes,
email
just-
Kay?
just-
You can
just
just
email
email
it,
any
yeah.
one member of the
Yeah.
committee.
And then when
they'll share
Kay's
it.
not
We will
receptive,
make
I'm
sure
gonna
that
email
the
Tony.
others get it.
Absolutely.
And if Tony blows me off, I'm gonna email Melanie,
There you go.
but not all the
Nobody's
same
gonna blow you
email.
off, so you
They're
don't
all
have to
different
worry about
emails.
it. You're
Several.
fine.
We have just formed a
Widow for
new,
the council.
this is part of the motion
I never blow my emails
for a
off.
committee.
Pretty darn receptive to everything.
Okay, well, it's not,
Then you
we
can
didn't make a
share them
motion
with
yet.
the
I
other
just
two,
started
right?
to
Yeah.
say that,
Make
but we
this
will and vote
difficult.
on it. I don't even think we have to vote on it. That the committee's,
just a
put it in the minutes.
But it
You
is
know who
good
the committee
advice.
is.
You can't get them all at the same time.
Yeah.
So, back to Ryan's thing. The update on the CBDG thing was fine. I think we're finding that simpler is sometimes better. Northwest Sewer hearing tomorrow. Great, have fun. Grants update.
I would like to just say one thing, Reps.
I'm gonna go around to everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just getting to go first.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
Grant update, no comment on that, and the transit workshop plan, no comment on that. So I'm gonna start over here with Larry.
Okay. I'm not going to comment on most of those, but I will ask about the, you mentioned about about trying to improve communication between businesses, support communication with businesses, and I was wondering if that is something that would be possibly a section or part of our public engagement plan that we're supposed to have for RRC?
Right, that's where we've drawn some resources from.
Okay, because I do think that it would be appropriate within that document.
Thanks,
Also, village website updates and all that, brings to my mind, I had said I would wait until after we were done with our budgeting process, which we just finalized tonight with resolutions, so I'm going to throw this your way, Ryan, and ask, when do you think it would be appropriate for us to have our next IT committee meeting?
Website's the biggest one we're working on now. Once site mapping takes place, and it will in the next week or so to keep things tracking, there's kind of a lull as the developers are doing their thing. They've got the ball for a couple of weeks before we see anything again. So if we wanted to meet at some point during that lull, we could talk about website so far and then any other stuff coming up.
Okay, so maybe
Next couple of weeks.
next couple of weeks?
Yeah, mid-July or after.
Okay, I'll just take a note, mid-late July. Okay. Other than that, thank you for the updates.
Yeah, thanks. Pat, any questions come to your mind?
No, I'm good.
Okay, okay.
I just want to mention Rep. Slotkin. She is, I mean, if you send her something, she responds to you immediately, and she is so good about helping our community. I just, kudos to her.
She
Pardon
doesn't
me?
represent us
She
anymore.
doesn't represent.
I know she
yeah,
doesn't, but
yeah.
she still, she still sends me letters, everything she's doing, and I find that really cool. The questions I have, though, on that, the transit, are you going to that meeting? Is that what you were saying, Ryan? You are going to that
I'm likely
meeting?
to go to the one in Commerce.
Okay, so you can, whatever you get, you bring back to us.
Yeah, it's one of those where they're gathering input. So if we have something to share, it's a good spot to do it.
Share that we don't have any transportation.
Exactly. And if
Yes,
we're gonna be taxed for it, we might as well
I know.
have something for it.
On grant updates, where are we on the number? The one you said? No, hang on.
The one we voted on, the 500,000?
No, Lord, no, we already talked about that. I don't know, I should have written more down, I'll ask you later. The time capsule, what are the costs again for the big one? The big one is
The front is $1,500.
1,500, and for a smaller one?
I know the back is 500.
I
Might
think
be
that's-
both sides
okay.
are also 500.
All right,
Kaz is the man on that. I'll defer to him.
that's all I have, thank you.
Melanie.
Okay. Those were answered. The reviewer for the MAC grants, how'd we get on the reviewing team?
They were asking for volunteers, and I took the bait.
Okay,
So I've got at least 19 grants to review in the 4 weeks between now and late July.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and now this is the one where we can watch on the Zoom.
Yes.
That I made you
Yeah,
panic
so I
about
will be
earlier.
reviewing ours, but I'm reviewing a different session.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's really cool. Yeah, I hope I didn't make you panic, because when I looked at the 26th, I went to my calendar, it's like, wait a minute, that's today. And then
Ours will
he
be
thought he missed
reviewed.
it.
Yeah, I thought I'm doing the other ones.
He's
in
like, wait a
July, so
minute,
I don't know
did
why
I
ours
just
was so
miss it?
fast. Is that good or bad for our chances? But the last week in July is when all those MACC capital improvement grants are reviewed, and they're reviewed via Zoom. So if you want to watch, you can, and they'll talk about our application and its merits and all that stuff.
Yep. which is hugely helpful. The township, did we ever find out the cost of having meetings over there, or if there is a
No,
cost?
that's what we've gone back and forth on, we're not sure.
Okay, oh, so we haven't talked to.
We've talked but haven't landed
It
on.
was an original agenda item that we had, and we took it off so he could work out some details first and bring it to us when we knew if it were A, feasible, and B, if schedules would line up for us to even be able to do it.
That was the one I couldn't remember.
Right,
what I-
okay, so we're still in that, okay, so we're still in that mode, okay. And then you don't know for the small urban which projects you're gonna throw out there?
Small urban's tricky because it has to be a major street.
Yeah.
I talked to our project manager at Row, who's doing the sidewalk project with us, of, knowing what amount of money is left from our project. It's right around $100,000 of what's possible with that on our major streets. So he's gonna come back with a few ideas. The first one that came to mind was Narren Street from M15 to Mill. Church Street is one that's also on going off our capital improvement plan. There's several that are possible that are major streets. So starting there, seeing what makes sense cost-wise.
Oh, cool, but
So,
they'll give you some,
a couple ideas.
some guide, all right, awesome. And then that's it, thank you.
Okay, Linda?
After hearing everyone else, I have nothing to add.
It's great when everybody asks your questions for you.
Yeah.
I like it, yeah.
Great minds think alike.
And Tony?
I'm a little confused on a meeting location discussion. I must have not been here for something like that, but the other one is the intergovernmental agreements for the facilities and usage of the village equipment. Is this including the Parks and Rec?
That's one aspect,
If you
yeah.
can let me know
Yeah,
when that's gonna be, hopefully it'll be before Fred leaves.
right.
So, that's all I got.
Okay, takes us to the end of the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.